Mike Tomlin takes a shot at Diontae Johnson while praising Lamar Jackson ahead of this crucial matchup between the Ravens and Steelers this Sunday. We also got some AFC North Hard Knocks updates and some key injury updates for both teams. We're diving into all that and more in today's episode of the Flock Rundown.
Ravens Flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim there where the sense can't tame the untamed.
Appreciate you, Ray. What's up, Ravens fans? My name is Ryan, and welcome back to another episode of the Flock Rundown. So we got Ravens Steelers this week. The rivalry's feeling like it's back. And today, Mike Tomlin took a little jab at Diontae Johnson. Here's the clip.
To be honest with you, I hadn't thought a lot about it. He's not on a lot of their video, and so, at this stage of the week, I don't know that I've weighed, what he might mean to the matchup. They got more significant pieces with larger roles that are occupying my attention at this part of the week.
Now, Diontae Johnson was just traded to the Ravens 2 weeks ago, so I totally understand why there's no film or video on him. But by Tomlin saying this about a former Steeler who he knows very well, Tomlin's been the coach there forever. Diontae Johnson played his whole career on Pittsburgh with Mike Tomlin. So it seems like a little jab. He's like, hey, they got way more significant players to worry about. Diontae Johnson's role and importance on this Ravens team is not something that Tomlin is even thinking about, which I think is a jab. I honestly think that that's a little shot at a former player who left Pittsburgh last year to go sign a deal in Carolina, gets traded to the Ravens, and then obviously we play each other this week for first place in the AFC North. Tomlin is too calculated of a coach and a speaker, especially to the public, that I think that he knows that the Ravens are going to increase Diontae Johnson's role. He'd be naive not to think otherwise. Now, I'm not saying he game plans for Diontae Johnson as much as he might for Zay Flowers or Mark Andrews or Derrick Henry. Obviously there are more crucial pieces on the Ravens, but to say you haven't even thought about it when Diontae Johnson's role is increasing week by week, and now we've just had 10 days off, there's no way the Ravens aren't going to use him a bit more. I know Tylan Wallace just had an incredible breakout game against Cincinnati. We could see a little bit more of him, but Diontae Johnson is going to be involved in this offense moving forward, and his role is going to increase. So I just think it's a bit of a shot towards a former player for him to say, oh, I haven't even thought about him. There's a lot more important guys to worry about, and at this stage of the week, Diontae Johnson hasn't even crossed my mind. I know Diontae Johnson is not going to be the Ravens' go-to receiver, but he's a threat out there. There's no doubt about it. He's been playing well all season, and he's an incredible separator. He can run every route. There's no way that you're not game planning for a guy like that, especially one that you know so well. So I just think Tomlin took his opportunity to take a jab at a little bit of a former player, juice this rivalry up a little bit. He kind of played down the Lamar Jackson comments when he was asked about Lamar Jackson versus Jaden Daniels. He had this to say.
Man, be real slow comparing people to Lamar Jackson. That's a multi-time MVP. That's Mr. Jackson. We'll see Mr. Jackson in a few days.
So Tomlin played this pretty smart. He didn't add any fuel to the fire to Lamar Jackson. He was very complimentary of him and said that he's a different beast than Jaden Daniels, which obviously we all agree on. And Lamar Jackson's playing out of his mind this year. And this is a Ravens offense that the Steelers offense has not went against before. I know we've lost the last 7 of 8 to Pittsburgh. They definitely do a great job of game planning against the Ravens, but they haven't had to game plan against the best Ravens offense in history. Lamar Jackson is 3 yards away from leading the NFL in passing yards. Lamar Jackson is tied for leading the NFL in passing touchdowns with 24. Derrick Henry leads the NFL in rushing yards and rushing touchdowns. This is a different animal. This is not the normal Baltimore Ravens offense. Lamar Jackson hasn't played Pittsburgh since week 5 of last year, and we were struggling to start that year. We were not playing that well, still adjusting to a new offense in Todd Monken. We had just lost to the Colts. The Ravens were not clicking on all cylinders until the end of last year, and then by the time that we played Pittsburgh again, we put our backups in, and they played against Tyler Huntley. So it's been a while since this Steelers defense has played this Ravens offense, and they have never played this Ravens offense in the second year of Todd Monken with Lamar playing the way he is and adding Derrick Henry to the equation. So I'm not saying that Pittsburgh isn't going to be the toughest defense that we face this year. I definitely think they are. I think their front causes a lot of problems for us, but I just don't think that you can put as much weight on past games between Ravens and Steelers coming into this matchup. You know, the Ravens defense is playing worse than they ever have before, so that gives a little boost to Pittsburgh's offense. And the Ravens offense is playing better than they ever have before, so I know going against a really talented, well-coached defense in Pittsburgh is a challenge, but this Ravens offense is scoring more points than they ever have. They're averaging 31.8 points a game right now. So will Pittsburgh probably slow that down a little bit? Yes, I think it's safe to assume that, but I don't think that the Steelers are going to hold us to 10 points like they did the last time that we met in week 5 last year. There were also 7 or 8 receiver drops last year in that game. There was just a lot of things not going our way. We only scored 10 points. That's not happening this year. We also got some early injury news for both teams. I know it's earlier in the week, so we don't know everything right now, but Alex Highsmith will not be playing for the Steelers. But they did trade for Preston Smith, so they're kind of replacing one with another. I really don't think that that's as big of a loss as most people are probably going to say. I think this Steelers defensive front is still the best front that we have played. They get to the quarterback quick. This defense is definitely the real deal, but if the Ravens were ever built to beat this Pittsburgh Steelers offense, it is with this Ravens offense right now. The Ravens also have a key player injured as well in Kyle Hamilton. We did get great news that it is just an ankle sprain. He's been getting treatment throughout the weekend, and he's going to be truly questionable this week, I would imagine. We'll definitely know more as the practice reports come out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I would not expect him to practice tomorrow. If he practices tomorrow, he's definitely playing, but I wouldn't expect to see him practice tomorrow. I'm just hoping that he can get in a practice at some point this week. If not, we'll probably see him next week, but great news that it's not long term. So I think that we avoided something serious there, and Kyle Hamilton won't be out for a while. I would love him to play in this Steelers game. We need all the help on defense that we can get, but if his ankle's not right, rest it up for a week. We got a long season left. The AFC North is also going to be on Hard Knocks this year. It's the first in-season full division Hard Knocks, and Harbaugh was asked when those cameras arrive, and he said after the Chargers game, and then the first episode of this Hard Knocks airs on December 3rd. So down the home stretch of the season, the Ravens, the Steelers, the Browns, the Bengals are going to be on Hard Knocks, and that is going to be entertaining, man. I'm sure the teams don't love it. I'm sure they don't want to give that type of access. Harbaugh said he's not changing anything, but there's going to be cameras everywhere at all the facilities, and there's going to be some AFC North drama down the stretch. You know, the Ravens and Steelers are going neck and neck right now for first place, and the Bengals are trying to fight for a wild card spot. I would say that they're probably buried in the division from winning the division, but they definitely can still get a playoff spot. They're a very talented team, as we know. So I think that this AFC Hard Knocks is going to be super entertaining, and I can't wait to see this. We saw Keaton Mitchell debut last week against the Bengals, but he was not that involved in the offense. We kind of used him on kick return mainly. But I do see his role increasing as well as Diontae Johnson. I think that these are two weapons that the Ravens are just going to slowly increase their role week by week. And Keaton Mitchell is going to provide a nice counter to Derrick Henry's power. We know the speed that Keaton Mitchell brings. All the Ravens have had 10 days off because they played on Thursday night, so they've had extra time to prepare for this Steelers game, get guys in the game plan like Diontae Johnson, like Keaton Mitchell. I think that we see a boost. I'm not saying that they're going to go off or be the most highly targeted guys, but I definitely think their workload increases, and they're going to be two strong weapons for this offense down the stretch, an offense that is already scoring at the highest rate it ever has in history, and one of the best offenses in NFL history so far through 10 weeks. So this Ravens offense is ready to go. We got to get a lot of things figured out on the defense for sure. It's hard to trust this Ravens team week to week because of the pass defense. And I don't know where that improvement's going to come from. Guys just got to play better, man. They got to be smarter. Guys like Marcus Williams, Brandon Stevens, they got to lock in on key situations and make better plays, make better decisions in moments, because a lot of the game, they're not playing that bad, man. When you really break down the film, it's not like it's constant blown coverages or anything, but there's these weird lapses where you don't go take the best player, and it's so confusing, you know, like especially in that Bengals game, we got to guard Jamar Chase. That should be the only thing you're thinking about, to be honest. I'd rather let a 10-yard out route to Gesicki or something up and just make sure that Chase is covered, make sure that nobody's getting over our head. And it's little things like that that's just confusing because we've never seen Marcus Williams play like that, and we've never seen the Ravens have so many lapses. And I think the guys are talented enough, but we've been saying this all season long. So I've kind of lost confidence in this pass defense until they prove me otherwise. I'm not saying that they can't turn the ship around. I definitely think that this pass defense can get going and at least play at an average level, but I am not coming into any week confident thinking that our defense is going to shut a team down until they prove me otherwise. But that's it for today, guys. Not a ton going on. We got practice tomorrow, but I just want to come on here and give some updates. I haven't dropped a video in a couple days. I was traveling again. I've been pretty sick, if you couldn't tell from my voice, so still trying to get these videos out, and I'll be active for the rest of the week heading into this Ravens-Steelers game, man. This is a huge game. First place on the line in the AFC North, and we've lost the last 7 of 8 to this team, man. We got to get right. We got to get this win. But I appreciate you guys tuning in to another episode of the Flock Rundown. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll let the greatest linebacker in the history of the game take us out.
Ravens Flock. The Flock Rundown is the place to be. My man Ryan has been a lifelong Ravens fan since he was born. The Flock Rundown. Nothing gets better than waking up and wondering how high we can fly. Tune in.
Motionless brainwaves attempt to swim their way to sense, can't tame the untamed.